The lies in front of you is a 2020 Honda Passport Elite with 17,000 miles. Now, the Honda Passport was originally introduced in 1993 and shared a platform with the Isuzu Rodeo, and it was essentially just an Isuzu Rodeo with a Honda badge, not much else. But after being discontinued in 2003, Honda decided to bring back the Passport in 2019, as this is the third generation of the Passport and is the middle of the line in the Honda SUV hierarchy, below the top of the line Honda Pilot and above the Honda CR-V and the Honda HR-V. The Passport is between the size of the CR-V and the Pilot, as it does not have a third row of seats. Now in specific, this Passport is equipped with a 3.5 liter V6 engine which produces 280 horsepower. And as far as sales go of the Passport, in the late 90s and early 2000s, I believe it had the highest sales year in 1996 at about 30,000. In the third generation recently designed Honda Passport, the peak sales were about 40,000 in 2020. Nonetheless, though, in this video I'll be taking around the Passport, showing off all of its features, taking it for a drive, and seeing where it falls on my Lemlist evaluation scale. Actually, I'm going to do something a bit different for this video, and for other ones in the future. Instead of scoring the Passport on my evaluation scale, I'm doing something at the end of the video called the takeaway point. Stay tuned to the end of the video to find out what that is. Anyways, on with the review. So continuing with the exterior features of the Passport, the one thing I want to point out is the black accents. As you can see, the rims of the Passport are not your typical chrome rims, they are the black rims. As well, you have the black lining with the back tilted windows and the black roof rack on the top of the Passport. It just matches very nicely with the ice white exterior and the black rim. Just a very nice exterior combo of the Passport. So two more distinct exterior features that I want to point out on the Passport. The first thing is just the sheer size of the vehicle. When I approached the Passport for the first time, I expected it to be much smaller than what it actually is. As I said before, the Passport is in between the sizes of the CR-V and the Pilot, so I imagined it to be a little more compact. However, it is much larger than I imagined it to be. The Passport, when it was marketed, it is aimed at being a more adventurous and off-roady type of SUV, aimed to compete with the Forester, 4Runner, and Grand Cherokee. And the main difference in exterior styling opposed to the Pilot is, as I said before, the Passport does not have a third row of seats, so the Passport kind of stopped after the second wheel, whereas the Pilot goes a little bit further and has a longer rear end than the Passport does, being the main differential in the exterior styling between the two vehicles. So assisting the trunk space of the 2020 Passport, as you can see, there is no third row of seats, as I said before, which leaves you with an abundance of storage. As you can see here, you have two little storage cubbies on the side of the rear of the Passport. And as you can see, there are the rear seats. If you press a button, they will drop down automatically, which I will show you in a moment. Overall, though, there's a good amount of trunk space in the Passport. So when you go to drop the back seats in the Passport, as I said before, it's kind of an abrupt drop. As you will see, I'll press the button and the seat just kind of slams shut. For the sake of it, they do it on both sides. I'll show you the right side. Press this little button right here, and the seat kind of violently slams shut. If you were to do the same thing on the left, the driver's side and the middle seat would fold too. But for the sake of an example, you just saw how the seat folds in the Passport. So moving underneath the hood of the 2020 Honda Passport, as you can see, you have Honda's 3.5 liter V6 engine, which produces 280 horsepower. I believe this engine shares the same powertrain with the Honda Pilot, the Honda Ridgeline, and I believe the Honda Odyssey, which I will check in a minute. But as you can just see, cool engine, 3.5 V6. I'll let you panorama it just in case you want to take a look. The one thing I find a bit humorous is Honda calls this the Earth Dreams Tech VTEC engine. Kind of a weird name for an engine if you ask me, but hell, Honda's going for some interesting names with their engineers. Alright, so moving to the instrument cluster of the 2020 Honda Passport, as you can see, you have your temperature gauge, your main screen, and your fuel gauge on the right. The center screen, I went over this in the Honda Accord that I reviewed. You can pretty much show anything you want to display, your apps, trip computer, your all-wheel drive torque, phone, navigation, your music, maintenance, settings, and this button will change to kilometers in case you don't want to use your mileage, and then just a blank screen in case you don't want anything in your instrument cluster. Pretty simple, very nicely displayed instrument cluster in the Passport. Alright, so moving down the center stack in the Passport, as you can see, you have Honda's infotainment system, which I will get to momentarily. Moving below this, you have your engine ignition button. To the right of this, you have your AC controls. You can see the temperature is currently at 63 degrees in here. If you want to raise that, just press the button. And if you want to lower it, just pull the lever down. Below this, you have your sync button in case you want the same temperature on both sides. Your AC airflow buttons, how high you want the fan speed to be on in the Passport. Your AC button, turn on the AC, and the button to circulate the air throughout the cabin of the vehicle. Below this, as you can see, you have your fan on and off, as well as you want the auto button. This is your rear AC controls. Have your front defroster and the rear defroster. Below this, you have your storage, a nice little cubby in case you want to put some smaller, thin items in here. And to the left and right of this, the Passport has not only heated seats, but cool seats as well. The top three buttons are heated seats, so you have 3 levels each. And the same goes with the cooled seats, which are very nice on a hot summer's day like it is today. And as I said before, you have this for the driver and the passenger as well. Below this, you have a phone charging station right here, very convenient. Below this, you have Honda's new and intuitive gear lever, kind of different from the old-fashioned actual physical lever. As you can see, you have the button for park, a little tab for reverse, neutral, and your drive/sport mode button. To the right of this, you have 2 deep cup holders, and you have a center storage console. Slide it open, pretty good amount of storage, and a little rest in case you want to put some items on top of your center console. Overall, though, it's a very nice center stack to the Passport. So moving to the infotainment system of the 2020 Honda Passport, as you can see in my Honda Accord video, which I will link below, I'm a big fan of Honda's current infotainment system. It's really up to date, really high tech, quick to use. It's a very nice and simple layout. As you can see here, you have all your main buttons. You have a navigation button. If you want to just put an address real quick, just type it in somewhere. Very easy to use. You can save your home, your favorites, all your basic stuff. Going back to the home screen, you have your phone, your basic settings, AM, FM radio, Bluetooth, Apple CarPlay, as well as Android Auto in case you want to hook up your phone. Your trip computer shows your basic fuel economy, your trip distance in case you want to see how much fuel economy you're getting. One neat little feature in the fuel range button, if you want to figure out when to reset the trip odometer, you can do it manually as you can in most cars. Every time you drive, if you want to reset, you can do that. One thing that's pretty cool actually is if you want to reset it every time you refuel to test your gas mileage, you can actually set it to reset every time you get gas, which is a really neat feature on the Passport that I really like. Going back to your home button, as you can see here, all your basic phone settings, AT&T, aux input, your music playlist, all the basic stuff. And then as you can see here, you have a clock app with a gorgeous analog clock display. If you don't want to look 3 millimeters above and see the digital clock, if you want the analog, you have that as well. Just overall though, just to recap, it's a very nice overall simple infotainment system on the Passport. Honda's got really good tech in all their new vehicles, and as with anyone, just very nice, easy to use, and good tech. Alright, so moving into the rear seats of the 2020 Honda Passport, the first thing I want to point out real quick is you have a abundance of legroom back here. I'm about 5'10", and I have just a very good amount of legroom. The front seat is pushed like pretty far back too, honestly, and I have just a ton of legroom back here. This would be a great car to go on a road trip with, or vacation, or even just, if you've got a big family and you're going to work or whatever. Ton of legroom back here. Literally the best. I can literally compare it to like a pickup truck. Like I've been in the 2020 GMC Sierra, and it had similar size legroom for this, which is impressive for how much room there is in the Passport. So just a good point on Honda. Overall though, you have very good high-tech leather seats, very comfortable, same as the front. Just very overall roomy and comfortable back seat for the rear passengers in the Passport. Alright, so from my perspective, in the rear seat of the Passport, as you can see, I have a ton of legroom, as I said before, just an abundance of legroom. You have storage pouches on the rear passenger and driver side with a little miniature pouch as well on the passenger side and for tighter items. As you can see here, you have your rear AC settings. The rear passengers get a climate control that you can control with the fan speed and the auto. The rear passengers even get heated seats back here, as you can see, with 3 settings as the front. While they get heated seats back here, they do not get cooled seats, so the passengers luck out a little bit opposed to the front seat passengers. And as well, you have a plug to charge any items that have a physical plug, and you have 2 little USB outlets as well. And on the door panels, you can see you have 2 large cup holders, so each passenger can have 2 drinks each. And you have a couple other little storage cubbies on this door panel. So it's a very overall nice and simple back seat to the Passport. So assessing the rear seats comfort-wise of the Passport, as with the front seats, it's very comfortable leather seats, very high quality materials. Like the kind of the weird little diamond pattern that Honda uses with the little circular indents in the seats. Just a cool, comfortable little pattern to feel. Very nice when you're being driven in this car. Headrest for the passengers as well. But overall, it's a very comfortable, nice, high-quality leather seats in the Passport, which will suit any driver or passenger very nicely while going down the highway. And one cool other feature that I like in the back seat of the Passport, as you can see, you have some hooks up here, and you might be wondering, is that for clothing? No, it is not. It is for the sunshade. These 2 little holes go into the straps above for the rear passengers, so in case you're going down on a very sunny day and you want to take a nap in the back of your Passport, you can roll up the sunshade and be hidden from the nasty rays of the sun in the Passport. Cool little feature for the passengers in the Passport. So getting behind the wheel of the 2020 Honda Passport, one thing I want to say is the 3.5 V6 is pretty solid pickup. It just floored it off of the making a turn, and it's got good acceleration. I like the digital speedometer that Honda uses. It's pretty cool. See the speed that you're going right in front of your face instead of the old-fashioned dial. As I said before, just kind of going along with the size of the Passport, it's much larger than I envisioned. I expected this to be more tight like the HR-V was, but it has much more, just a taller and bulkier driving experience, which is good because this is what Honda was aiming at while marketing this vehicle. To compare to some other mid-size SUVs that I've driven, my mom used to have a 2012 Pilot, and this feels about a very similar speed as that one does. About similar pickup. It might even have the same engine. I know they both had 3.5 V6s. I don't know what the horsepower was of the old Pilot. I recently reviewed a 2011 Toyota Highlander, and I believe that had a little more pickup and throttle as well to it, honestly. Not that it's a bad thing, it by no means is this car like underpowered. It's very adequate power, but just as for the sake of a comparison. I've recently reviewed a 2020 Honda HR-V as well, the smallest SUV in Honda's lineup. The Passport feels like it has a little more throttle to it than the HR-V did, which is also a good thing. And one other thing as well, going back to the size thing, it has the large just feeling and size of a mid-size SUV. It feels large. The passenger feels like they're decently far away from me. The interior reminds me a little bit of the Infiniti QX60 that I reviewed, which is a good thing. It has a very opulent and just like luxurious vibe to it. I mean, this is the elite trim, so it's one of the highest trims of the Passport. So you're fit with all the very nice technology, the high leather seats, like just an overall better build material, which is just a nice presence in the Passport. Comparing it to the BMW X3, the X3 was definitely a bit more peppier and faster, but also the X3 is geared to being more aggressive and sporty because it's a BMW and also has a much higher price tag as it was the X3 M40i. But the thing about the Passport that I also like is it's just a uniquer SUV in Honda's lineup. It's something different. It's a little bit newer. The CR-V and the Pilot are more, they've been out forever, and the fact that Honda brought the Passport back is just a unique homage to a more sporty era where everybody wants to drive an SUV, and it just a uniquer car in the lineup. As with anything else in this, as with any other modern car, this vehicle does have the idling ignition killer, where if you're at a red light, a stop sign, and you don't want to keep your engine running for better fuel economy, it will turn off the engine while you're parked. If you want to turn that off, you can just press a little button down there and it will remove that for you, so you don't have your engine turning off on you every time you're at a stoplight. One thing I will say though, just to continue with that's one little extra feature, is with the HR-V that I reviewed and the 2018 Accord that I reviewed, modern Honda just have a very pleasant driving experience. They're nothing insane or like surprising, but just a very nice, well-built and just pleasant, enjoyable car to drive, which when you're going to buy a car, that's the main thing that you want to look for, you want to enjoy it. And the Passport just does that. I'm very impressed by this vehicle, and I really like it actually, so props to Honda for, you know, doing a good job of bringing back an old relic in their lineup. Alright, it is now time for the interview section in which I answer 5 generic questions. One would ask, I'm going to purchase a vehicle. Question number 1 of the interview section is, what is my favorite feature of the 2020 Honda Passport? And that is the overall just driving experience and just layout of the vehicle. It's a very roomy vehicle, and I said with the HR-V that I reviewed a couple months ago, it's just a pleasant and enjoyable car to just drive around in. So props to Honda on making this an overall good SUV. Question number 2 of the interview section is, what is my least favorite feature about the 2020 Honda Passport? And that is the gear shifter in this vehicle. Call me old-fashioned or stubborn, but I'm used to the old-fashioned physical gear, whether it's a column shifter on an SUV or the more basic one in a car. Not that it's a bad thing, it's a little quirky how it's all like buttons over here. I mean, it makes it more, flowy with the design, but just to be nitpicky, that's my least favorite feature on the Passport. Question number 3 of the interview section is, what is the most unique or weird feature about the Passport? And I would say that is the reset trip odometer when you fuel in this vehicle. As I mentioned before a little earlier, you can reset your trip odometer when you refuel it. A really cool feature that Honda can integrate with the new tech. Just not a very common feature that I've seen in cars, so that's a pretty unique feature that I like on the Passport personally. Question number 4 of the interview section is the 2020 Honda Passport worth its value? I would say yes. Whilst it's a bit more expensive than the Pilot, you're getting a more like off-roady or sporty vehicle. So whether you want that third row or you want it to be just the second row with a little more aggressive and off-roady atmosphere, I would say go with the Passport. But overall, I would say it's a pretty good value for your money in the Passport. Question number 5 of the interview section is, would I ever want or own the Honda Passport? And the answer is no. While I like this SUV, I'm a picky person, I'm a truck guy, and while the Passport is a good SUV, I would not want to own one myself. So this is the takeaway point, where I essentially give my final impression and overall opinion of the vehicle I just reviewed. I felt this was a more concise, less opinionated version of my old scoring scale. So without further ado, this is the takeaway point. Up front, the Honda Passport is a good vehicle. Let me make it clear that I do like this vehicle. It's a solid SUV, probably as good reliability as a Honda, and it's just a pleasant vehicle to drive. However, this vehicle is not what Honda markets it to be. Honda marketed this vehicle as a rugged off-roady SUV that can conquer any terrain its ambitious drivers seek to take it on. But the thing is, this vehicle does not look like an off-roader, nor does anybody associate it with being a tough all-terrain vehicle. Most likely, non-car enthusiasts are just going to mistake the Passport for a Pilot. Just from a side shot, the Passport does not possess the minimalistic off-roady vibe of the 4Runner, the Grand Cherokee, the Wrangler, the Outback, the Bronco, or even discontinued vehicles like the Toyota FJ Cruiser, Hummer H3, or Nissan Xterra. So, before I get grilled in the comments for hating on the Passport, let me iterate again that the Passport is a good vehicle, but it does not have that rugged, all-terrain spirit as Honda markets it to be. Thank you so much for watching my review of the 2020 Honda Passport Elite. If you enjoyed this video, feel free to check out some of my other reviews, and if you can tolerate seeing my face enough, feel free to hit that subscribe button. It is greatly appreciated. Stay tuned for more reviews in store, and again, thanks for watching.